Chapter 22, Megabanks and the Bank for International Settlements, BIS. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York is eager to enter into close relationship with the Bank for International Settlements. The conclusion is impossible to escape that the State and Treasury departments are willing to pool the banking system of Europe and America, setting up a world financial power independent of and above the government of the United States. The U.S. under present conditions will be transformed from the most active of manufacturing nations into a consuming and importing nation with a balance of trade against it. This is a quote by Louis McFadden. There are two superbanks that offer loans to all the countries in the world. They are the World Bank and the IMF. The World Bank is jointly owned by the world's top banking families. The Rothschilds sit at the top of the banking pyramid. They also own the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the BIS. The two banks offer loans to governments and use almost impossible to pay back interest to get their hands both on land and minerals. They exploit the natural resources of a country, such as oil, via their covertly owned companies, refine the products and then sell them back to that same country to make a profit. The Rothschilds have also been behind all wars since Napoleon, and they have found out how profitable it is to finance both sides in a war. War is very, very profitable. The wife of Mayor Amschel stated in 1849 that if my sons did not want wars, there would be none. Her name was Guttel Snapper. Joan Vian commented in a 2003 article entitled Controlling the World's Monetary System, the BIS, that the BIS is where all of the world's central banks meet to analyze the global economy and determine what course of action they will take next to put more money into their pockets, since they control the amount of money in circulation and how much interest they are going to charge governments and banks from borrowing from them. When you understand that the BIS pulls the strings of the world's monetary system, you then understand that they have the ability to create a financial boom or bust in a country. If that country is not doing what the money lenders want, then all they have to do is sell its currency. The BIS is essentially a sovereign state. There is diplomatic immunity for its personnel and it pays no taxes, and nor do the personnel. No government has jurisdiction over this bank that was created in 1930 in Basel, Switzerland. It controlled the finances of both Germany and the Allies during World War II, and according to author Charles Hyham, the bank turned out to be a money funnel for American and British funds to flow into Hitler's coffers and help Hitler build up his war machine. The powers of financial capitalism had another far-reaching aim. Nothing less than to create a world system of financial control in private hands able to dominate the political system of each country and the economy of the world as a whole. This system was to be controlled in a feudalist fashion by the central banks of the world acting in concert, by secret agreements arrived at in frequent meetings and conferences. The apex of the systems was to be the BIS in Basel, Switzerland, a private bank owned and controlled by the world's central banks, which were themselves private corporations. Each central bank sought to dominate its government by its ability to control treasury loans, to manipulate foreign exchanges, to influence the level of economic activity in the country, and to influence cooperative politicians by subsequent economic rewards in the business world. This is a quote by Dr. Carol Quigley. Quigley, a professor of history at Georgetown University, published in a 1966 book that I know of the operations of this network, Illuminati, because I have studied it for 20 years and was permitted for 2 years, in the early 60s, to examine its papers and secret records. I have no aversion to it or to most of its aims, and have, for much of my life, been close to it and to many of its instruments. I have objected, both in the past and recently, to a few of its policies, but in general my chief difference of opinion is that it wishes to remain unknown, and I believe its role in history is significant enough to be known. David Icke writes in his book entitled The Perception Deception and agrees with V in that the BIS is not subject to any taxation or national laws and that it achieved infamy with the few who know by laundering money for the Nazi regime during World War II.